Now we start with Japan and China. Japanese tourism-related shares have plunged today morning after China issued a second advisory against traveling to Japan, escalating tensions amid a widening diplomatic rift over Taiwan. Major retailers and travel-exposed companies were among the hardest hit. Isetan Mitsukoshi fell more than 11%, its biggest drop in over a year, while Oriental Land, the operator of Tokyo Disneyland, slid 5%. Japan Airlines also lost nearly 4%. The warning came after Beijing cautioned Tokyo of a crushing military defeat should Japan intervene in any conflict over Taiwan. Japan has urged China to reverse the travel advisory, but the fallout is already rippling through markets, especially as Chinese visitors make up nearly a quarter of Japan's inbound tourism. Economists warn the boycott could cost Japan over 2.2 trillion yen annually and shave off 0.36% of GDP. Retail giants like Muji's parent Ryohin Keikaku and fast retailing also tumbled, while Chinese firms with heavy exposure to Japan saw shares decline on the mainland. With rare earth supply dependence and regional security concerns rising, analysts say the economic toll could extend far beyond tourism. Now for this discussion, we welcome Dr. Satoru Nagao. He's a fellow at Hudson Institute, joins us live from Tokyo. Thank you very much, Dr. Satoru, for joining us again. Good to see you. Dr. Satoru, what is happening with China and Japan now? Do you think China's use of rights enforcement patrols around yesterday we saw that it was using patrols around Senkaku Island. All this that's happened a week. What are we to make of this situation now?
China got the chance to exploit, and that's why they conducted stress test to the new Prime Minister Takaichi's administration. So that's why they are conducting the many methods to make pressure. One is, of course, economy. They try to limit the number of tourists, and it will affect the economy. China has already imposed a restriction to export rare earths, so that's why this is also the one of the two. And the other thing is sending the Chinese ship to the territory sea around the Senkaku Island and try to make pressure militarily. So that's why all of these methods, stress test, China is escalating, and Japan is silent. Indeed, in this case, what the PM Takaichi did is simply explained the situation. So this is a fact, because if China invade Taiwan, big war has happened just side of Japan, only 100-kilometer distance. So this means that there is a possibility it will be the crisis for Japan, and Japan will support the United States. Such kind of things the Prime Minister Takaichi explained to reply the question from the opposition party in the National Diet. So this is not a provocative remark, but view from China, this is very exploitable situation. So because they want to get the chance to identify the level of the PM Takaichi's skill or PM Takaichi's administration skill, so that's why they try to start the stress test towards PM Takaichi administration. So then these things happen. This means that in the near future, China will continue to rise up the pressure and check the reaction from the PM Takaichi's government. One of the lines Japan is talking is push the China's general consul on Osaka out of Japan, because his remark is cut PM Takaichi's head if Japan intervenes in the Taiwan crisis. It's a little bit too much, not a little bit. It is clearly too much inappropriate attitude as a public servant, as a diplomat. So that's why in this case, of course, Japan is planning to push him out from Japan, is possible, and they are planning. But Japan's move is a little bit very moderate and slow because Japan is a consensus society. So they are talking each other, and if everyone agrees, they will do it. So that's why this situation this pushing him out hasn't happened yet. But this is not mean Japan is very weak. Thank you very much. I should stop it.
Yes, and what do you think, to what extent should governments intervene when geopolitical disputes begin to significantly impact private sectors? In this case, a lot of markets as well as tourism-dependent sectors are hit.
This is stress test. View from this is a temporary situation. So temporarily the damage has happened, but this is not a long-term effect. So that's why even if some economical damage has happened, this is not so important. Important thing is this stress test. Because the stress test, after this stress test, China understands the skill or the courage or the PM Takaichi administration. After that, every time, this will be the standard of the China's diplomacy towards her government, PM Takaichi's government. So that's why this test will affect in the long run. So short-term damage should not be the dominate of the decision of the PM Takaichi side, because this test itself is long-term effect. So that's why the temporal economic situation is not a big matter. If the damage is too big, of course, the government prepares something economical support to these industries. But if this is the temporal, and then indeed, the Japanese government do not need to do that, I think.
Yes, indeed. Thank you so much for sharing that insight. Please stay with us as we come back to you. And now we stay on the topic. Breaking news in the China-Japan diplomatic spat. According to reports, Japan has sent Masaaki Kanai, head of the Foreign Ministry's Asia and Oceania Bureau, to Beijing to amid rising diplomatic tensions. The visit follows a diplomatic flare-up triggered by Prime Minister Sanai Takaichi's statement that a Chinese attack on Taiwan could threaten Japan's survival and potentially prompt a military response, a level of candor Tokyo has traditionally avoided to prevent angering Beijing. Is expected to meet his Chinese counterpart, Liu Jin-song. Japanese media say Kanai will clarify that Takaichi's remarks do not represent a change in Japan's security policy and will urge China to avoid actions that further strain ties. The tensions escalated after Beijing warned Japan it would suffer a crushing defeat if it intervened over Taiwan and issued a travel advisory urging Chinese citizens to avoid Japan, a move that has raised concerns for Japan's tourism and business sectors. Tokyo has not yet officially confirmed Kanai's trip, but diplomatic efforts are clearly underway to prevent the rift from deepening. Now we welcome back Dr. Satoru Nagao. He's a fellow at Hudson Institute, joins us live from Tokyo. Thank you, Doctor, for staying with us. Dr. Satoru Nagao, looking at this, what is your analysis of what will be on the table in the upcoming talks between Japanese envoy and China now? What can we expect from these talks?
This could be the logical explanation to Japanese thing. So because the PM Takaichi's explanation in the national diet is not provocative, just explains the honest situation. So this is because if the crisis has happened in the Taiwan, this means that the side of Japan, and this could be Japan's crisis is fact. Not a provocative, just a fact. So that's why there is no reason for China to flare up this crisis. So China flare up this crisis, China escalated this situation because China want to escalate it. That's why this is a stress test as the PM Takaichi explained. So in this case, of course, what Japan can do is, firstly, of course, Japan should be tough, but at the same time, if the misunderstanding is the cause of a problem, this is not your intention. So that's why Japan sent the delegation to explain Japan's attitude is not a provocative one, not changing the Japan's attitude one. This is just explaining about the fact. That is this purpose of this envoy. Keeping the communication means that avoiding the misunderstanding the Japanese think, so that's why they send. But this is not meaning that Japan will accept China's logic. China's logic is China's logic, Japan's logic is Japan's logic, and China's policy is China's policy, Japan's one is Japan's one. So that means that this is a communication and talk, but not concede to China. That this is we should not mistake to understand.
Yes, indeed. With that, I would like to thank Dr. Satoru Nagao for joining us and sharing that insight throughout our news. Thank you very much. Now we move on. U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent has said that a rare earths deal between the United States and China could